Hello friends and welcome back to another episode of Stamp With Me. Today I'm stamping on another layout and hopefully you guys enjoy this one because I'm finally using a Tim Holtz Distress Oxide ink. I've definitely neglected the couple of colors I do have, so I'm glad to be finally putting one to use today, which is the beautiful Lucky Clover color. I'm also pairing it with some scraps from my How to Kill a Kit with Style for the month of August. If you guys haven't seen the rest of my August layouts or my kit share, I'll have the August playlist linked down below so you guys can check them all out. They use a ton of the Pink Fresh Studio Joyful Day collection if you guys have that in your stash. Some great inspiration for using it in a variety of ways. But for today's stamping, we're just doing a little bit of border style stamping, which I personally underutilize a lot. I think it's a great way to add another detail to your page without adding a ton of bulk and without adding either a ton of color. You can really choose your poison here if you want black outlines, if you want to do neutral tone on tone, if you want to add a ton of color. Stamping is a great way to do that without a lot of height or texture required. And obviously you can reuse stamps, so it's a great addition to add to your stash, especially if you're on a smaller budget perhaps, or if you just want things that'll last a really long time. Stamps last for what seems forever. So I made a couple marks with a pencil so I could mark where my pattern paper would be, so I could mark where I should be stamping. And Distress Oxide does take a little bit of time to set up because it stays wet for a little bit longer in case you want to move it around with water or do some fun technique with it. So I let that sit, and I do have these two paper scraps which I've trimmed down. Some are just trimmed down by eye level. I'm not exactly sure of the size, but I really like this to pair with my two photos. And my photos today are actually for my 2017 Disney album, and these are from the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival, which I know several of Disney fans know and love. And these are the Tigger topiary and then the Piglet and Eeyore topiary that year. And I thought, the Friends of Pooh should all be on the same layout. And so I'm pairing these with this beautiful green pattern paper from that Pink Fresh Studio Joyful Day collection. And it really helps speak to the stamped color as well. So the Lucky Clover Distress Oxide ink really matches that bright green in the background of those pattern papers. And what I end up deciding to do is, instead of directly mounting the photos onto the green paper, because there's a lot of greenery in the photos that don't exactly match. They almost have fall tones to them because the yellow greenish leaves and because of the red tree and the florals. They really do have warm tones, but I end up matting them on some white cardstock first, which I think is such an impactful technique that we often forget about. I know there are people out there that actually print their photos with a white border just because it gives it that look without having to go through the process of lining up the edges and trimming it down. But I do that on both photos and then go back to that beautiful green paper, which I did really struggle to use throughout this kit in the 12x12 size and in the 6x6 size, but I'm glad I finally found a spot for it that works really, really well. And I still have to use the scraps somehow, so I'm going to have to figure that out eventually, but I really liked the papers in this collection. It's just that a ton of them were florals, and they're all different types of designs, and a lot of them were white backgrounds, and eventually it becomes too repetitive where you can't use them on the same page unless they're in small amounts. So here you'll see I have a blue sort of geometric floral as the base layer, then I have that small strip which is actually like a watercolor style floral with these circular patterns, and then I did that really small floral with the green background. So 3 different florals on one page could definitely be overwhelming, and I don't normally do that. Usually I have one statement piece and then that's it. Just some supplementary ones with simpler designs like polka dots or stripes. But in this case, all the patterns all the time. And so since I have so much going on with the patterns, my stamping, and the stamping's quite simple, which I think is a great way to use stamping. Stamping does not have to be complicated. Sometimes it's just one color, one image repeated over and over, and you can really make a statement with that. I think this really helps drive home the flower and garden theme, and again the topiaries. But to supplement all of this, I'm using my Maggie Home sticker book. I'm pulling out cameras and little banners and labels. Some of those labels are from Heidi Swap, that bow from Maggie Homes, a singular die cut from the Pink Fresh Studio Joyful Day collection, which I'm glad I finally got one of those floral circles down. I find them very hard to use unless I have a specific use for them, so I'm really glad I got one down. And I only have like 5 or 6 die cuts left in that pack. Fingers crossed I can finish it before the end of August, but we're down to the wire, so we'll have to see. But since I do love how this is turning out, I need to start gluing things into place. So I'm just going to take my ATG gun and start putting the layers in their spots. Don't forget to check out all of the other participants for Stamp With Me this week. We post bi-weekly, and you guys don't want to miss out on any of the episodes. I'll have the Stamp With Me playlist linked down below so you guys can check out all of my episodes so far. Some are a lot of stamping, some are a little bit of stamping, but this is your reminder to stamp on your next layout. If you are crafting right now, be sure to pull some stamps out, whether it's your title, a phrase sticker that you make, a die cut you make, a piece of ephemera, whatever it might be. Do a little stamping. It'll make you feel good, and it'll be using up the supplies that are in your stash that want to be loved and used and put to use. So here I'm pulling out a ton more stickers. I find some ones that are in a nice shade of green that complement the patterns or match the patterns. And that's something that I found really, really helpful for this particular collection. Again, the Pink Fresh Studio Joyful Day collection is this particular Maggie Home sticker book, which is the original one she released, has a perfect color match for a lot of these random colors. That deep periwinkle blue is a great match to the sticker book. A lot of the weird green shades, and of course there's pink in both of them, which is an easier match than some colors. The minty greens in here as well. It's just miraculous how it worked out. And I ended up pulling in these purple florals here at the end, so I put one in between the photos, and I will come back for the rest of them because I found them very difficult to use in the first place. But here I'm actually using supply that I rarely use, and that is this light purple and copper washi tape. So since it was copper foil, and I don't really have a lot of copper foil in my stash that I can think of off the top of my head at least, I end up putting back the gold foiled label that I originally had out for the top left because I have that copper washi tape that I'll use in a few spots, which really just helps bring in a little bit of shine without being too overwhelming. I think copper is a really great option for something more subtle, and I really like that it was mixed in with a light lilac purple color because it just goes so well with the pattern papers and elements. Because when it comes to purple, it can be very, very hard to find in your stash or just in the scrapbooking collections in general. It'll be here and there, but it's kind of a rarity of all the colors, I think. Here's where I start bringing in those other purple florals. They're the exact same print, but I do use all three of them on this just because it was a good color match. It was a nice addition to the theme of Flower and Garden Festival. And I mean, they're topiaries and it's Winnie the Pooh, and it just all goes so well together. And I end up using these for my kit. These are some LA Studio alphabet stickers in this light gray color, and that ends up being my title. As you saw before, I auditioned my other alphabet items in my kit this month. So I had the Jelly Bean Soup, which were black foam phrase stickers. I had the Periwinkle dark blue alphabet from Fiskars, and the gray spoke the most to me. It's light, it's happy, and I just go with the word friendship. I don't think you need much to discuss when it comes to topiaries, but here is the close-up. Let me know what you guys think. I just had to add some glue under a couple elements, and this one will be good to go. But lots of stickers, a little bit of stamping just to reinforce the theme. And I really, really enjoy the pastels and the springtime vibes as we, sort to head into fall for everyone in the US. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to check out all the links down below, and I'll see you guys next time.